Scary.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Blue Mountain Radios. In this episode, we are working on an XPR 8400. Tilt it up a little bit, see if you guys can't see it here. There you go, XPR 8400. It is a no power out, so it's pushing out, when I checked, I think 0.22 watts. So we're going to get this checked out on the video real quick, and we're going to show you how I do a very quick and easy way of seeing if it's repairable without having to open up the radios and replacing any parts inside of it. It's called a brick swap. So basically you take your receive unit, move it to your transmit unit, and your transmit unit over to your receive unit. Unless it's already been done. If it's already been done, then it's not going to work. And super easy way to get these XPR units back up and running, because all they are 2 XPR radios, and that's it. All right. So let's go ahead and get our test going. So we go into duplex mode. And as you can see here, we're barely making any power out, okay? Everything else is good. Freak error, I can adjust. It's a little high for my liking, but it's still within acceptable ranges. The output level is lower, is at negative 95 instead of my normal 117, negative 117, because we are using the gen out port, which doesn't support going down that low or that high. However you look at negative numbers, I always get confused on that. So the gen out port on the R8000C that I'm using right now maxes out at the output level of negative 95 dBm, and that's why it's set so low. But as you can see, our power out, if I get over into duplex mode again, hold on, let it catch up. There it goes. It is not even 0.2, it's 0.01. So, with that said, let us go to our workbench here. There we go. And we're going to open this up. Let's get that out of the way. All right. I'm going to get all our cables disconnected on the back, turn the unit off, unplug the power supply. All right. So this is what I was talking about. Let's get this camera centered. There we go. So you can see there's 2 different units in this XPR repeater. One that's on top and one that's on the very bottom. The one that's on top is our receive unit on the right hand side here. This is our receive unit. It sits on top of the power supply. Now on our left hand side, right here, is our transmit radio. It has a nice good heat sink on there to transfer out the heat. And a good way to tell if this has been brick swapped yet or not is usually people will write brick swapped and then the date on here. So just because it doesn't say it, there's no brick swapped in here anywhere, or even on the sides, it looks like it doesn't say anything about it being brick swapped. So I don't know if it's ever been swapped or not. So I could be wasting my time, or I could be saving this repeater for somebody else to use for quite some time. So the first thing you do, usually there's a cover, and they come with screws. I've already removed all the screws. There's one on top, 2 on both sides. Okay. These are torque bits. They are T20s. So all you gotta do is take a T20 bit and just remove them. All right. And again, there's 2 on each side and 1 in the middle right here. The next step is to take a 7mm socket, deep well socket, I have an adapter here for my Milwaukee screw gun. And down in each little area, let's see if we can't get a good view of them. There we go. There they are. You can see the nuts and the bolts that they're connected to down here. Right down there. So the left unit has 2 on each side. Okay. The left unit here has 2 on each side, 2 on here, 2 on here. So we take our deep well socket, go in. I don't take the nuts off all the way. I just bring them up high enough so I can slide the radio out. Okay. After that, you have your RF connector, power adapter, and accessory connector. Go ahead and disconnect all of that the best you can. You also have this flex up here. That can just be slid right out. And then underneath it, see if we can't get that out of the way. Underneath it, you have one more flex, and that can just be pulled right out as well. And then if you're very gentle, you can get a better position on everything else in here. So the accessory cable, you can see it comes over to this board right here. So we'll actually disconnect it from here because it's an easier place to get it to. Here, I just take a good grip on the front, a good grip on the power cable, and just pull it off. This now is our transmit board. So we set this off to the side, and we move over to our receive board. So we can disconnect the RF cable, we can disconnect the power. Now, before we take this out, we have to take off this accessory port right here. So we take our T20 bit, remove both of these screws, which takes off this retainer clip, which allows us to remove this accessory port. So here we go. All right. Now we take off the retaining clip, and if you get a flathead or something else, you can pry up the accessory port. These are the same ones on the XPR 4000s. So if this is broken and if you have an XPR 4000 just sitting around, you can grab it off of there and toss it in here and it'll be a good replacement. All right, now with the accessory removed, we have nothing holding down. We now have nothing holding down this board right here. So we are going to remove the screws. You can see here, this side has 2 down in against the wall here. And then on this side, there's a 3rd screw back here. Let's see if I can. There you go. You can see it down here, and it's right there. So we take our 7mm deep socket and just unscrew it just a little bit. And get the 2 in the heart. And 2 on the side. All right. Now everything else that's connected, this cable right here, and that goes from this board all the way up to the front. We want to disconnect. Come on. Just be gentle with it. And there we go. And then we have a Cat 5 that connects to the network card in the back here. And we can disconnect that as they both go to this front board right here. And there's no reason to disconnect them from up here. So now if we pull up a little bit, line up all the holes, we should, we forgot about the fan. So the fan's right here. Fan cable, as you can see, I totally forgot about that. You need to disconnect that as well. All right, and that is our receive unit. And as you can see, it has that brown flex in there. We'll take that off and set it off to the side for right now. Now we have one screw on this side and one screw on this side. These are actually bigger than your T20s. Or maybe, nope, they are T20s. That's my bad. So we get our T20 fit and we remove those screws. All right. Now if we shimmy forward, our unit comes out like so. As you can see, it's already set up for that heatsink. So there's two different ways we can go about in doing this. One, we can take this heatsink off, hope the thermal pad doesn't rip, and put it over here and screw it all down. The other way is to remove the entire board from inside and hope that we don't rip off the PA. What I find the easiest to do is to just remove the heatsink. Sorry, I was drawing a blank there. Is to remove the heatsink and put it over here. Because 9 times out of 10, that thermal pad is not going to break, and you can get it over to there. And for that, we need some longer T-bits. I forget what size these are, so we're going to play. Oh, I don't have the right size to get in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if this will fit in there. Nope. All right. I don't have any bits small enough right now to fit inside here. So we're going to have to do it the hard way and hope that the PAs and stuff don't get ripped off of these boards. All right. So we're going to clear all this out and we'll just have the two units here. Give me 1 second. We'll be right back. And we are back. So I just thought of something. We can actually test these before we even switch them, but I want to switch them. That way I can show you how to do it the harder way. And then in another video, another update video, I'll get the torque screws that fit in between here so we can do it this way as well. I like doing it this way because it's just a lot easier. So let's go ahead and do it the hard way. According to the manual and what I was taught is there are numbers on these boards. Let's see if we can't get a good view of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. According to how I was taught, and from what I understand is in the manual, I never actually checked, is the way to screw these down is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The way to take them out, it doesn't matter. I always just follow the numbers, putting them in or taking them out. That's a personal preference. Do I think that it actually matters? I don't think so. But that's just me. So let's go ahead and take this apart. Come on. Pop off. There we go. And the first thing you want to see, is there any damage? And of course there is. This piece right here is blown. Let's get that out of the way and you can actually see it blown. The ruling was to see if we can't get this to work without replacing parts. And it looked like a resistor. I don't know what size this was. As it's all... Come here, little piece. I think it's another 301, like the one on in the front here. So it's a 301 resistor, I do believe. And it's blown. It broke. But that has to do with the PA and the power out, nothing to do with the receive circuit. So I'm not too concerned about that. Now, am I going to resell this one? Probably not. Not until I replace this component right here and see what else is, and double check anything else is damaged. So let's go ahead and get the accessory port off, the 2 reclaimer clips, and see if we can't get this out without ripping this PA out. Alright, it came out pretty easy. Now we take a look on the other side here. Alright, and it looks pretty well taken care of. Alright, the heatsink for the audio PA broke off, which is just fine. We can take a flathead or your splunger or something, take it off, and just put it back on. Alright, and now I usually mark these, because I like to make sure that in case I forget to mark the outside, PD swapped. And today's date, so you can see it, today's date of recording is February 8th, so 2/8/26. TX originally. Alright, and now with that set off to the side, we do the same thing over here to our receive board, or the original receive board, I should say. Now we're going to do an update video on this as well, where I replace this component that blew, and see if replacing it with another 301 resistor, which I think is a resistor. I'm pretty sure the blacks are the resistors on here. Oh, actually it's 100. 100. So if we look at this one, this is the one that broke. This one says 100. The top one says 301. So, yeah. So it's 100. A value of 100. I don't know if that's ohms or what. I'm not too sure. I would have to look it up in the service manual. But that's not what this video is about. It's to get this working without replacing parts, which is a very easy thing to do. Because again, this piece that broke on the original transmit board right here has nothing to do with the receive. It's all power out, the power out circuit. So we're not too worried about that. So let's take off these 2 reclaimer clips, the accessory jack, get it over into the transmit case. And then, so the way I get these out is there's a little gap right here. So what I do is I just take my thumb and push up, and that's it. And then, as you can see here, there is some thermal pad left from the audio PA. So we'll go ahead and get that transferred back to the audio PA. Come on. Let's go. There we go. All right. So now we take our new receive board, our old transmit board, flip that in. We get our 2 retainer clips. Get the retainer clips in there. Come on. There we go. So then we have our 2 retainer clips. We get our accessory port in there. And then we take our lid here. And again, according to how I was taught, we follow the numbers. So we'll follow the numbers. Six and 7. And we'll set the receiver off to the side. OG RX board. Swap. Could be TX on 2826. That way we know, and it sounds like somebody just came through the door. So I'll be right back. All right. So get the retainer clips and the accessory jack onto this one. And there we go. Now we get our lid on there. Screw everything in. All right. Now this gets put back into its stand. Make sure I have, it does say which way is which on here. So if you can see, barely see it. It does say, there we go. It does say front, so this would be facing the front. This is the front. So we'll get the front put in. Now one side. Do the other side. And there we go. And what I do beforehand, because it gets a little tricky, is I'll take the brown one and put it in. Because it gets a little tricky when it's already inside the unit. And then we take our receive, and because this one gets buried, we do board swapped to a 26. And then I'll put my company's initials so they know who did it in case somebody else takes a look at it. Not saying they know what those initials mean, but at least I do if I ever see this radio again. And then we line everything up and get these screwed in. And there we go. And then we'll, so if you look here, you're going to see that indent right here. It's where your power cord is supposed to go once you reconnect it. That's what that little divot is there for. Not really. It's supposed to go down below. I think. I forget. If it goes here or here. But anyways, so we got all that back together. Give me a second. We'll get the main unit up here and we'll give it a test. All right, all right. All right. So here's our unit. I'm going to put in the receive side first. Yes. Goes on the bottom. So make sure we don't kill that. All right. So we can plug in our fan again. All right. And then we get our transmit module. And again, I'm going to put the flex in while I have it out, just because it's a little bit easier. There we go. Make sure that's in. Make sure the brown one's in. And get our power connector in. Get our accessory port connected. Where is that? That goes this way. There we go. Get our RF cable. Line everything up. That goes down like that. And this gets reconnected over here. Okay, this gets reconnected over here. And then, of course, we got to make sure we have communication. So we'll reconnect our Cat5, our network cable. Until it clicks on our communication cable. All right, everything's back together, everything's plugged in. So now, reconnect everything. So we go receive to receive, transmit to transmit, power cord to power cord, turn on. Oh, nope, sorry, I forgot one thing. I forgot our brown cable up here. So what we're going to do is disconnect that cable and this cable real quick. Come on. Maybe not. Let's see here. Disconnect the back. This is one bad thing about these repeaters. There's not a lot of room to work on. And everything's in there. Pain in my hands. They're not coming up. Ah, no, I just had it. No. Okay. There we go. Get this back in there. There. Now we reset that. Alright. Everything's now connected. Now we connect the power. Turn it on. Connect receive. Connect transmit. So now what we gotta do is rewrite the code plug. So we get the accessory port in there. Get our programming cable in there. And then right, there we go. Now put in our test code plug. Let's go back to our CPS view, or I should say our analyzer view. Pull up our analyzer, show an analog channel in place. And there we go. We're back up to 40 watts. That is the quickest and easiest way to fix these XPR repeaters, is just to board swap them. Like I mentioned, I like to indicate that I have board swapped these. So again, we do board swapped on 2.8.26 VM on. And then I'll do it on the bottom side of that. That way, the next time someone pulls it off and flips it over, they'll see that it has been board swapped. But as you can see, that piece that was broken on the new receive side has nothing to do with receive. It receives just fine and transmits just fine now at 40 watts out. Now, if we take a quick look at the settings, it could do a little bit of tuning. High power is technically set at 44 watts. But I'm okay with it being at 40. I don't like putting these at the max rated tunage for it, just because it helps them burn out faster. These are not, in my eyes, these are not the best type of repeaters. I rather have each section of the repeater in its own dedicated system, such as like a TKR 710 or 810 from Kenwood, where they have each individual module doing one thing. But it's the same type of thing, but the board does a lot more instead of just one thing. But that's how I understand how these work. I always suggest, if you do go with the XPR setup for DMR, please, oh please, cut down the power out and just get an external PA. It'll save you the issue of having components blown from continuous use. But again, that's just my experience. If you've experienced something different, please let me know down in those comments down below. So that's how to restore an XPR 8400. Just by doing a brick swap or a board. It's brick, but I call them board swaps because all we did was replace the board. And if we did the brick swap, it would have been removing this heatsink and putting it onto this brick that's in this place right here. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you enjoyed this video down in the comments. If you did, please like and subscribe. It always helps. I'm just trying to build my channel and my business, and hopefully this helps somebody else out there down the road. And I'll see you guys around. Have a good one.